Konnichiwa Mina. Hello everybody, welcome to part 2 of how to play the Inuyasha trading card game. If you have not watched part 1, I highly recommend that you do so because I talk about the different types of cards in the game and how I read them. So part 2 is going to be talking about how to play the how to play the Inuyasha trading card game and going through the turns and seeing what you can do during your turn. So we have our 60 card deck. Like I said before, you have to have exactly 60 cards to play, no more, no less. You can have as many copies of a card as you want, as long as the card does not restrict itself. And yeah, that's the basic rules of deck building. So, like in the Inuyasha trading card game, you put out the top 5 cards of your deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the top 5 cards of your deck go on the side as your jewel shards. And basically, the whole premise of the game is that you either have to discard your opponent's deck until they cannot draw any more cards, or you take the 5 jewel shards. If you could do either of that, you win the game. Then you draw your 5 cards. 4, 5. So yeah. So then you draw your 5 cards. You have you can mulligan one time. That's it. So basically, you could take. So if you don't like the cards in your starting hand, you could swap it with your jewel shards, like if you want to. But if you do, that's the only mulligan you get. So like if you have a crappy hand, then sorry, you're gonna have to deal with it. So 1 mulligan. So there is no there is a back and forth, but basically you and your opponent basically share a turn. So it's not like my turn, I do this, that, and the third, and then it's your opponent's turn. You kind of share a turn. So the stuff you can do during your turn is that you can play up to 2 characters. So basically you pay its deck cost and they go onto your board like this. And then your opponent does the same thing. They can play up to 2 characters. Then you can play your item cards. Same thing. You pay its deck cost and they are attached to a character. Only 1 character can be attached 1 item at a time, and your opponent can do the same thing. Then you can play a location card. Same thing. You pay its deck cost and it goes into your location area, and your opponent can do the same thing. So that is your setup. Then step 2 is going to be your battle phase. Your battle phase, you can choose to do one of these things during your turn. You can play an event. You can use an ability of a card that is already in play. You can attack or pass. You can pick one of these during your battle phase. So for example, let's just say if I decide to attack. That is my 1 action, and then your opponent does the same thing. They can attack, they can use an ability on their field, they can pass, or they can play an event. So you go back and forth until both players consecutively pass. So if you need to attack with a character, I would highly recommend that you do so, because your opponent can also attack you as well. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. So when you're attacking, you choose the 3 stats that you want to attack with. And then, like if your opponent wants to block, they have to block with that same stat. So same thing as bleach. Let me see here. So let's just say if a character is dead. So if a character is dead, they would be flipped upside down like this. Then you have the option to recover that character during your recovery phase. So let's just say, what's the name of this card? Moroku, Quick-Handed Monk. So to save a character, you would have to discard a Moroku from your hand. It doesn't have to have the same surname, just the name. So I could discard Moroku from my hand, and now he has been saved. You can do that, or you could choose not to. If your character has been defeated, they go to the discard pile. So any defeated character, so let's just say if your opponent defeats my character, they get a jewel shard every time they do it. And then same thing to me. So it's like if I attack with a character and it goes successful, I get to take a jewel shard. Also, you can also attack directly as well. So let's just say if my opponent has no characters out, I can attack directly and I can still get a jewel shard. So in order to get a jewel shard, it has to be a successful attack or it has to be a direct attack in order to take a jewel shard. So let's give you the attack phase as an example. So, let's just say I have Moroku on my board and my opponent has Kagura. So let's just say I attack Moroku for 7. And let's just say my opponent blocks with Kagura. They can do that because they have the same stat of purple and they also have the same stat of green, but it doesn't matter. I'm attacking with purple. Moroku has a 7 purple. Kagura has a 3 purple. So that means I won the battle and Kagura is defeated and I get to take a jewel shard. And then my opponent can respond either attacking with their characters. So it goes back and forth until both players consecutively pass, and then you go to a recovery step. Like I said before, let's just say if my opponent wants to save Kagura, they could discard a Kagura from their hand, and then now she's saved. But yeah, guys, that the Inuyasha card game is pretty simple. Like I said before, the 2 ways to win the game is that if you take all 5 of your opponent's jewel shards, or you discard their deck down to 0. So if they cannot draw a card at the start of their turn, then they lose right then and there. So during the battle phase, your opponent draws 3 cards. I think I forgot to mention that. So during the battle phase, you draw 3 cards, my opponent draws 3 cards. So I think the draw phase is during the battle phase. I think you do draw a card at the start of your turn. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think you draw a card at the start of your turn, and then you draw 3 cards during your battle phase. So essentially, you draw 4 cards throughout your whole turn. So it's very important because there is deck out in this game, like I said. So it is very important to add cards to your deck that allow you to recover cards from the discard pile and shuffle them back into your deck, because you don't want to lose that way, because drawing 4 cards every turn can make you lose very quickly. I guess I could just show you just some artwork of the cards. Here's one of the item cards from Tozo. Here's Tokujin. And then there's Banryu, which is Bankotsu's main weapon, and then Shishomaru's main weapon. So I think these cards are really, really pretty. I can show you guys some of the foils, some of the different artworks. It's kind of hard to see the foils in this video, but I think they're very, very pretty. Here's one of the cards that you can get from I think it's the Naraku starter deck. You get this little promo card. You get this little promo pack, hidden, and I think that's really, really cool. Oh, and on top here, so on top here is the rarity. It's the jewel shard. If it's the whole jewel shard, then it's a rare card. So that's the system of rarity in the Inuyasha. Well, not in the Inuyasha trading card game, but just for collector purposes, it goes by jewel shards. So the more whole the jewel shard is, then the more rare the card is. Yeah. So I gotta show this one. I really like this card, the Koga card, ready for Koga's Determination, which has a 0 cost, which is really cool. But yeah, guys, I think that's how you that's pretty much it as far as like the Bleach trading card game goes. Pretty simple card game to play. Really fun card game to play. I think this card game lasted till like season 7. So the movies are not in this, and then of course Yashahime is not in this because this card game was made way before Yashahime was a thing. So this card game definitely stuck around a little longer, definitely. But like I said before, like it's really unfortunate that this card game passed away. But I think I rambled too much. Like I don't want to make this video terribly long. So yeah, guys, give a like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions like about this card game, please let me know in the comments, and I'll definitely do my best to answer it. And the Inuyasha trading card game. If you want it to get into this card game uses Yu-Gi-Oh sized sleeves. So if you want to get into this card game, you need the sleeves for Yu-Gi-Oh. So yeah, guys, that's the video, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye,